Morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Morning,
Good,
Andy.
good rainy morning. Good rainy
Where are you,
morning.
Andy?
I'm just about to leave home for a meeting. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Are you in Manila or Japan?
I got back from Japan last Tuesday.
How was the flood?
Oh, it was very good.
So Manila is not the only one place with flood. Even Japan has flood now.
Oh yeah, it was even the subways were flooded. And
Right,
this was
right.
in Shinagawa. This was in Shinagawa. Well,
Washing.
it's good.
Good.
I hope you're much better now.
Yes, I am much better now. Thank you so much. Today we got a special guest, and I want to bring him on. None other than the Filipino world famous Mr. Robert Sarmiento. Robert, how are you this morning?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you.
You
Morning.
having you having
Morning.
echoes on your side?
You have echo.
Is that me?
Yes.
Why is that so? Wait. I don't know why. Turn off my phone. Is that really me? It's me, I
Yeah.
guess.
So it says Andy Pogi 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 Pogi.
What is that? Turn off my phone.
If you can turn off, we have another Zoom active
Nope. Just
or your Facebook live.
Are you Facebook Live?
no. Yeah, I'm turning off my phone.
Okay.
Is that better? I'm sorry. Give me 1 minute.
Okay, no, let's wait for Robert to hang out. And today we're gonna have a very interesting conversation. Um, but let's start this morning. Let's talk on our just to warm everyone up. If you could, ladies and gentlemen, on the chat box, please share with us what did you have for breakfast this morning. Just put on the chat box, please. What did you have for breakfast this morning? Just coffee. Ah, lechon.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Am I better? Whoa. Everything's off.
You actually had
Yes.
Robert. You have another device on here actually.
I don't. Everything's turned off. Let me
Okay.
turn my. Hello? Still. Wow.
Hey, can you all hear me?
I think I'm going to use my phone instead. Sorry about that.
No
What
worries.
microphone are you using?
Um,
Just use your default microphone from your laptop.
yes, from my Apple.
No other gadgets open.
There, two desktops are off. Switch.
Phone.
Because I see two of your accounts online here.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, there's a very strong typhoon coming in today
Oh, really?
called Nando. It came from Taiwan. It's signal number 5. So as early as yesterday, the classes were already canceled.
Oh, right,
Yeah. So, but it's up in the north.
right.
Um, it's up in the north. So I hope it's not going to flood here.
And I still there.
Would you like to reset? You log out and then log in again.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Cool. A lot of
Good.
people had coffee and toast and fried rice. 𝗪𝘄𝗲𝗏. Wow. Only 7 people have breakfast. The rest didn't have breakfast. But anyway, so is this going to be a very bad typhoon, Andy?
Yes, it's going to be up in the north, but then I think it's big. It came from Taiwan,
Yeah.
and it's a very rare signal number 5.
Right. So would it hit Metro Manila?
It's we're feeling the edges, the edges of the storm now.
Right.
I just hope it's just more wind, but not too much rain, because you know the situation here. We're
Yeah.
struggling with money.
Right. Because I'm heading to Manila on the 30th. I hope everything will be cleared by that.
Oh yeah.
Right.
This one I think will be gone by tomorrow.
Okay. That's good. So Charles will get to feel it again.
Where's Charles? Still
He's
here?
in
Oh
Manila.
yeah.
Yes.
He's leaving on Thursday.
Yes.
Charles is an expert already, because
Yes,
he
I
missed
know.
because there are no typhoons in Malaysia.
No, there's no typhoons in Malaysia.
So see, you're missing a lot.
Good. Awesome. Let's let Robert in again. He's coming back in. He has two logins. There you go.
Oh, maybe that's why. There.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yes.
You are now good.
Very sorry for the delay.
No worries. No. You for that moment you sounded a bit like God. So. So a bit concerned. There you go.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Super. All right.
Right. Awesome. So let's get straight to it, since we are a little bit in time right now. So today our conversation, Andy, with Robert, is to really talk about this one key word. In the MREA book, the 3 L's are very important. The fundamental models of a real estate agent, and the first L is definitely leads, but the second L is something we want to talk about, and it's called listings, right?
Yes.
And I had a privilege to drive from Los Angeles to Las Vegas with Robert in the car. He kept me awake. He was very worried that I would slept as I was driving here. So he kept me awake with all his stories. Now Robert has got many stories, right?
Yeah.
Some stories I would not tell again. Some story stays in Vegas, won't come out from Vegas. But more of the things he talks about is really passionate about the listing, like to get listings, right? That the essence of being a real estate broker, a real estate professional, it really stands in the listings. So maybe Robert, you want to talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about why in your business listing is critical.
Well, you know what? It's the lifeblood, basically. Listings basically control the market, really what's out there. Okay. I have a PowerPoint that I prepared.
Sure.
It's HANA. I could share that with. We can go on with the list now. Okay. And buyers chase listings. These are just basic analogies that I've come up with. And so buyers chase listings and sellers chase expertise. Take note of that, because I've lost cases, or I've lost listings wherein I was up against a specialist in a particular area, and that person knew more than I did. So expertise is very critical. All right. In what I do, I'm one of those brokers that really handle all lines, and it's not easy. All right. There's an advantage to being a specialist in a certain area, whether it's project selling, whether you're just BGC, whether you're an industrial broker. That has advantages to that. No. And then if money is the lifeblood, listings are the heart pumping it. Those are things that I picked up along the way, right? So, I another anecdote that I'm going to share really quickly is back in the 90s, a client called me out of the blue because I had one specific village residential that I posted. He said, Robert, you're the only one with this property. So you're the guy I trust to help me. That one listing opened the door to not just one sale, but 4 additional properties and more referrals after that. That's the power of listing. It's not just a door, it's the whole building. I want to share that with you. Okay, can we move on to the next slide? Okay, I'm not seeing it though. Where is it? All right. Okay, where are we now? Okay, so anyway, in what we do, there's basically 3 things, right? There's the property listings. All right. I'm not seeing the what do you call this? Unfortunately, the slides. Number 2, you've got the clients, and number 3, we have the property listings, and then next slide we have clients. Okay, it's kind of slow. And number 3, we have our network brokers. Something's really wrong. I'm not seeing it. Okay, that's kind of like I'm losing track of it. All right. So, you know, I've been blessed. You know, if you being in the business for quite some time now, I'm going with 36 years. I've always been an analytical, and so I analyze all my activities. And with that, I can say that with the statistics that I've gathered, 80% of the transactions that I've done throughout the years, I've been the listing broker. So I focus on that. So and out of that 80% that I've done, I've also realized that 70 to 75% of the transactions I've done were with a broker or brokers. So flexibility is very much important in what we do, right? So now I'm opening my other computer so I can see the slide. So I'm now at the network brokers. The network brokers are very critical because, you know, I realize that I need them very much in order to move on and help the client sell a property listing. Take note that in a listing, it is the seller that is important. It's not us. I've seen younger brokers, new brokers, or even elder brokers that kind of hog the property to themselves, wanting the whole pie, and good luck. That's probably one deal a year for them, right? Okay, so you've seen that thanks to KW, also Camilla, introduced me to WhatsApp. So there are several ways, platforms that you could do your property listings. One that I kind of recently came up with and was introduced to me. In fact, we were there, Jonathan, when we were eating in BGC, was the catalog manager of WhatsApp Business. It's like a mini website. In fact, I think it's even easier to open it rather than someone going to your website or to your carousel, because when someone opens your catalog, it's just there right away. You can see it, you know. And once I got this, I decided to really uninstall WhatsApp, the regular WhatsApp, because, you know, when I opened that again, it deleted everything that I did in my WhatsApp Business. So forget that. So this is it. You can put your Instagram account. You can put 10 photos, right? So of course, my advice is, of course, you want to put a watermark in every photo because, you know, there are so many apps that can take out their watermark right now, and also they can do a screenshot. Okay. Another way is, of course, what we have is our website, which is the KW website that I'm using right now, which, again, we are still about 50% to it. I still have to maximize and take advantage, but I know that there's so much to be taken out of that, right?
Hang on. Robert, can I just ask you a quick question? Because I'm seeing stuff here right now, right? You're sending stuff out to people. You're also posting stuff online. And you mentioned one thing just now, that the client's more important than me, right?
Right.
So my goal is to sell the property for the client because that's the interest of the client. Now, why do you think a lot of people struggle with that?
Well, they don't really understand it. They have to understand the code of ethics. The code of ethics is that we are in this job to really not, of course, it comes with the rule that of course we're going to make money. But if you have a primary goal of assisting or helping your clients first, the money will always follow, will always follow.
Right.
Again, will always follow. That's
What about
given.
what about the concerns or the fear of, oh, what if some broker took my listing and cheated stole my listing or something like that?
Well, that's a case-to-case basis, of course. You're giving a property listing. This is of course given that you're number one exclusive. Number two, it's also given that you are giving to very trusted networks that
Right.
you won't ethically do something bad to you.
Right.
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 Okay.
Right.
Yeah. I will go on to the sharing and all that
Sure.
later on as
Sure.
we go on with this
Sure.
slide, right?
Sure.
So then I got my Facebook, the Global Real Estate. I have a very select group also, just like my Telegram group, where people get to share their listings. Then I have IG, Instagram, which is on a professional mode. Of course, the disadvantage of that is that you got to screen these people that suddenly become or follow you, because some may be some are scammers. Unlike
I
an
know.
individual IG account, you have the option of accepting them as friends or not, right?
Right.
But I opted for a professional one, right?
Right.
And then, of course, there's 𝗟𝗏𝗀. I had not included 𝗟𝗏𝗋, but I've heard that the 𝗟𝗏𝗋 has been working well. So that's great that we might include that in our future plans. Okay. Now you see, there's a slide there. I don't know if you see it, the lead generation funnel. This was set primarily for selling, but on retrospect, yeah, this is the same thing also as listings, because when you're networking with your fellow associates, network brokers, you get to see that a certain broker is geared towards Ayala Alabang. So you know that that's their interest. And so what we do in our office is that we already identify the specialist of certain areas, of certain sectors, of certain values. Some are just really working on 10 million and below. Some are just working on Las Piñas. Some are just working on the warehouse sector. So it's also a lead generation funnel, wherein you could like itemize and really organize your property listings. So when you send them out, you're close to hitting the bullseye on every.
Right.
You're not trying to give something to somebody who's not even interested in that or who doesn't work that property, right?
Right.
Then there's the quantity over quality. About 20 years ago, when I was still with Rebap Green Hills, I was present. I gave a talk and I called it "Deal or No Deal." I guess there was a popular TV show then, and so in every transaction, whether you be the listing broker, you're the buying broker, you have the buyer or you have the listing, you really have to assess each segment or factor or variable that come into play. In this case, if a listing, you have to realize, is it a good listing? Is it sellable? Right? So, I'd rather, as much as I have quite a quantity of property listings, I make sure that I don't work something that's going to waste my time, or more so my associates' time. So always provide the narrative. There's a narrative to every listing, and that's one thing that people kind of omit or overlook. You just can't say, "Oh, 2-bedroom Serendra, 40 million."
Right.
There's a story. Sellers are divorcing. Property it's going to extrajudicial. Someone's dying. They need money. So there's that narrative, and then that enthusiasm that you, while you're speaking, they can feel that. And that's very critical. So I will always choose quality listings over quantity. A few, that's very realistic is better than so much that's not gonna get anywhere, right? Okay. Then there's that important thing that I call the mindset. Okay. There's people that it's a scarcity mindset versus the abundance mindset. Okay. Some brokers hoard, the listing. They're fearing loss, and they don't collaborate. They want 100% of the pie. I had a story before that I called the legend of the 10%, wherein, they want direct listings. And so I see that, and I already saw that, okay, I have the network broker that has that exclusive listing, but that broker wanted only 50%. True enough, what happens during week 1, you don't get to offer. Week 2, you still don't get to offer. At week 2, check out your buyer. Is getting antsy. Jonathan can't give me that listing. They start searching now. On the 3rd week, they finally get fed up, all right, or get impatient, really. And Jonathan, on the other hand, has not even made a call to say, I'm sorry, Mr. Client, I am still searching. I haven't found anything yet, right? Just so that buyer now finds the broker or myself posting that listing. And so I offer it, and we end up, I'm with a broker, and we end up closing it. So what happens to that broker that was hoarding that listing, who wanted 100% of the pie, ends up with 0. Wherein, if they were to look back, all they had to lose was 10%. Because it's a 40-20-40 deal. That's the legend of 10% that I call, right? Then there's already, of course, the ethics of it. When you get a listing, wow, it's very critical that you have to honor the brokers. Word goes around our industry. Here comes the rain. Oh my, okay, strong. So it's very critical that you honor each other. When you acknowledge the listing, because again, in my future talks about mindset, when you give someone a listing, what's the first thing that a broker thinks? Oh, I have this already. Do I have that already? Did someone give this to me? Yeah, you had it. Yeah, you had it 10 years ago. Yeah, you had it 2 years ago. All right. And here's the updated list, right? And so why waste your time? And of course, you got to check your records, right? So that's ethics, right? But nevertheless, some try to get out of their way to knock on the door. And, I tell you, there will always be people like that. There will go. A win-win situation is very critical always. All right. What was I going to say? Okay. It's when everything and when everybody wins, and it's just a smooth deal. Nobody, everybody feels good about the deal. And there are some instances, of course, and some brokers wherein after they get the fee, my gosh, they don't do anything. Right. So again, that's ethics. That's something that we have to address. Now there's now the system and the habit that's very critical. All right. So regular reach outs to both parties, client, broker, are critical. Follow-ups are important. And also property checks. You're checking with the property owner is still and updating, because that's one thing that we tend to overlook because we've got so much activities. We tend to not update the property owner that, all right, we just showed the property, or even after a viewing, just to update you, the client kind of didn't like the painting or didn't like the area that where you're in. There's a building behind you that's kind of encroaches on the property. So those are okay. So those are issues that are really of concern. But really, updating the property owner is always critical, right? Another thing is documentation. sellers want proof that you are always consistently working on their paperworks,
Right.
especially after a deal is done, right? Then you've got to leverage your networks. Choose your partners, choose your networks that really work your listings, right? All
Right.
right. Okay. We're going fast here. Anyway,
No
okay,
worries.
I got another anecdote here. Okay, I had an owner in Quezon City, 20 years ago, who told me, Robert, the reason I gave you the exclusive is you're the only broker who consistently followed up, updated me weekly, and gave me market feedback,
Hmm.
even when there was no news, no
Hmm.
activity.
Hmm.
Okay, that consistency secured me the listing and eventually the sale. And again, referrals. All
So,
right.
Robert, let me
It's
ask you a quick question here, if you don't
yeah,
mind.
yeah.
How many people, how many owners of the listings that you're marketing that you talk to every week?
Wow. Oh, a minimum of about 10 to 15.
Right.
You
Right.
know, just last Friday, what was it? Yeah, Friday, I left. I went to Batangas, spent the day there. I viewed the property, the bed and breakfast, and then I went to another farm lot, and then I went to Montefiasco. By the way, guys, that's a real nice. We're all accredited there. And then I tried to visit Aya Hills and for the sneak preview of Andy's, and then the Sunday
There you
I
go.
had played golf with Andy, went to their open house, came back with a quick viewing at Dasmariñas village, and then finally had to come up with and then reach out with my friends for to meet for to watch LaSalle game, and right after that a party, and then the party this lady was had tons of property, and so gave me a 1 hectare by Manila Port area and another a building by Ongpin. So like, okay, it just happens. You
Hmm.
just have to be out there, all right?
Hmm.
But that's 3 days, right? So
Right.
today is another day, right?
Right.
Okay, okay. So again, the system and habit are very critical. It's just getting to the habit of doing things, right?
Right.
Consistency is it's very critical. Because I guess mindset and consistency are kind of like all tied up. So
Right.
you got to do that all the time, right?
Right.
Turning listings into faster sales, right? Okay. It's very critical for me. Number one, when I get a listing, I really have to see it. I got to view it. I got to feel it. I got to walk around the property. I got to see what's around. I check the frontage. I see the orientation, who's behind me, how far am I from a nearest exit. All right. And then, of course, you tell the client because the client is waiting for you to tell me what price it is. I mean, it's gotten to that point now wherein I have a property owner that tells me, I don't know what the price is. You tell me. Okay. And so together with that, it comes with a package. When I give them a price, I also give them a computation of what it will sell for, what his taxes will be, and more importantly, what will be net to him. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing for a property owner is what's net to them,
Hmm.
right? So of
Hmm.
course, along the line, when you're checking those things, you're checking if they're vatable, if they leased out the property. So what are those taxes involved? Is the
Right.
paper clean? Are the documents clean? Right? So then I also check on their psychology. Are they motivated? All right. And then next step is that of course when you check on the buyers, all right, you also check on the buyers because if it's not my client, I check on the nature and the behavior of the buyer's client also, and I try to advise the broker also. I think they're not really that serious. Because usually Filipinos in particular, 80% they they don't say anything
Hmm.
after the viewing.
Hmm.
In Tagalog, we call it deadma. All right.
Myanmar.
Unlike foreigners, they tell us right away, I don't like that. Can you offer me something? I like a bigger space in the living room. I got this. I like this better view. All right. Okay. Then presentation matters. Good photos. All right. For me, you know, I tend to take a photo of a living room or a bedroom or the kitchen area. I try to take it on a landscape, not portrait. Why? You get a more expansive view of the property. It's a nicer photo. Some prefer the the standing up, or when it's up. That's great for like portraits and individuals. But when you're taking real estate, it's always good to have a wider landscape. In fact, when you're taking, if you want like a good photo of, let's say, you want to emphasize the floor area is huge, go lower on the floor and take it from the floor so that it shows that it's like a big floor area. You will appreciate the 100 square meter living room, all right, rather than taking it from a square type, or going, when I don't know what you call that, portrait, I guess. So I always take it from a landscape. That's my thing, no? The video tours, right? Okay, with Instagram, it's great to take 3-4 seconds, move on to the next slide, the bathroom, 2 seconds, next to the kitchen, another 3 seconds, span it, so that you can all combine this when you do your IG, right? Okay, and of course, staging. I go to a property, especially when there's a viewing. I go there 30 minutes before. Why? I open the windows. I check if there's any cockroaches on the floor. I clean it out. Make sure everything's, or if the bed is not in order, I even fix that. Okay. And sometimes I even bring a perfume. All right. Okay. So just to make everything smell good, what's good is that, of course, what works well, just a tip, if the place really stinks, make sure you have a lighter and a napkin or a paper.
Right.
Burn it. It will kill the odor. All right.
Interesting.
All right. And then spray something. Spray Lysol or some sort of scent. And that will immediately make the place smell better. If I could, with the permission of the property owner, turn on the aircon, that's great. So that at first, once they enter, they feel refreshed, they feel good, right? Okay. Exposure. Okay. Social media, online portals, network, of course, that depends on what works for you. Each one to his own, right? And of course, your network brokers. We tend to assess also that, I've given 7 listings to Andy. Has he inquired about any of those? Has he worked on those? It varies with everybody, right? Is he really working our listings, or is he busy doing his own, right? So we tend to do that. So we just focus so that, we're not wasting time on things that are probably bothersome to others, right? So we don't want to bother them if they're busy on their own, right? I'd like to think that way. Remember, take note of that mindset that I have. It's not like, I'm wasting my time with him. No, I tend to think that I don't want to bother Andy. He's busy on his own. It's a big thing. Okay. You don't want to put negative things in your mind or have some burden. That's very critical. Number 4 is feedback loop. After viewing, you really have to gather information. There are ways of asking questions on how the viewing went. Okay. I tend not to say, did you like the property? It's like, okay, it's almost like saying when you enter into a viewing and they see the living room and you're showing the property, it's like you saying, this is the living room. So that's like, okay, that's obvious. They know it's a living room, right? So, I tell, did you like are the colors appealing to you? If you were the owner, what color would you use? It's those kind of questionings, building rapport, making them easy, finding out, probing into their needs, probing into what they like. That's very important. All right. And then, of course, after the viewing, you have to advise the seller, so that they have a feedback. You know what? I told you, we're 95M, buying is at 75M, but I'll keep on showing. And true enough, I've gotten them to that point wherein I finally got them down to 75. Unfortunately, they're in this industry, if I don't get the exclusive listing, someone else benefits from the price that I've negotiated.
Right.
And that's just part of it, right?
Right.
All right. Now, adapting to market changes. having a feel of the market is so critical. That's one advantage I have being all lines from industrial, residential, commercial, mergers and acquisitions, tourism related properties. I get to feel where the action is. First, of course, being out there driving from Cavite, Batangas, all the way up to Pagudpud in Ilocos. I get to see the roads, the new road infrastructures, and then I do my own research too. So when the market crashed, particularly in, where was that? Where am I? Slide number 18. Okay, you know, in 1981, take for example, there were some networks that we had that were so focused and they took advantage of Pogo, and they did make money, all right. But when the Pogos left, they had nowhere to go. They
Right.
wanted to like, where do I go? You know, I never dealt with Pogos. I consistently work all lines. So, and so when they left, I had multiple listings of office spaces in Makati and Parañaque. When the ban came, inquiries vanished almost overnight. But again, I was not much into the office sector. Only if a client helped me, because that's basically handled by a few networks that were lucky enough to have that market, right?
Right.
But since I was in industrial and commercial outside Metro Manila, beach properties, we continued on. It was as if there was no slowdown, right?
Right.
So that's very important to adapting to market changes, no, and feeling the market. So having a feel. So for those that do not have a feel, then you just have to align yourself with people that feel. It's simple, and that's why why we're a lot of us, Andy and some other guys that are great in this business. We're just a phone call away, All right. Relationship multiplier. Okay. Listings are trust. The more listings you win, the more people you see you as the go-to person. I've positioned myself in the industry, especially during the early days, wherein you want, those were the days prior to 1989, before the RESA came. We were all DTI licensed brokers. Oh, before, was it 2009? I'm sorry, RESA. So from 1989 to 2009, I positioned myself as the go-to guy for listings. Why? I had the most sellable listings, and then I was 99% direct. So I had the image of, okay, you want a direct listing? Call Robert. You want the sellable listing? Call Robert. So those were the days. Come 2009 till present, wow, things changed. Especially this last 7 years of social media. It's a wild west today. All right. I got a client who told me, don't post online, just to see that 3 other brokers have not only posted the property, the exact address is even there. So it's like, okay, then I told him that, do you know? Well, he just said, oh my gosh, but what can he do? Right? So it's a wild west, right? Well, one good listing equals multiple opportunities. Buyers who don't buy it may forward it to another friend of theirs.
Right.
Okay, that's happened quite a bit. And then, of course, remember, when you have a property, do not forget to have the narrative. Stories sell. You have to have the story. All right?
Right.
Okay, next slide. Tech and tools. That's one of the main reasons I've reached out to KW, because of the platforms that they have, the tools that they have, and true enough, it's been helpful. But you know what? It helped us kind of like organize our listings for now. But we still have not like used it to boost our listings through
Right.
Facebook or to IG. But I know it's there, right? So data transparency builds confidence. There will be clients that like their properties to be featured, and there's a small percentage, I would say about 15, that want to keep it private. Okay. Remember, if your listing isn't online, it doesn't exist. It does not exist. That's a simple. Okay. And then another anecdote. I got about 10 minutes. Years ago, I used to carry a thick binder of listings everywhere. Today, it's all on my website. It's all on my WhatsApp, social media, and Viber groups, Telegram. One owner told me he gave me his listing because he saw how active I was online compared to others. The combination of relationships and technology multiplies visibility. You're not just the broker they know, you're the broker they see. All right? So the success formula: hard work, value, plan. You plan your day. You got to be persistent. You got to be consistent also, and you got to be patient. Because just when you think just when you're about to give up, and you've given up, that's when it becomes ripe. So you just got to stick it out, right? The commitment's got to be there. Okay. Some thoughts to ponder. Listings aren't just inventory; they are relationships, trust, and opportunities waiting to be unlocked. And so my challenge to you all: how many quality listings can you commit to securing and actively working this month or the months after? Thanks so much. I hope you picked up something there.
Yeah, I think it was a great great session, great short. You kind of walk us through your own way of doing business, right? Which I think it's so relevant and it's so simple. It's not complex, right? It's not rocket science. But it's just doing the same thing over and over again, right? And you build that habit, and you also build that value, the reputation, all together at the same time. Now, I like it that you like to put up listings out there. I think which is one of some of the challenges I think people have in their mindset of very concerned. I'm very worried why if people will steal my listings and take my listings away. But I think your mindset is, how can I help my owner sell faster first? That becomes the priority, rather than about how people will steal my listings first, right? That's not your priority, because your priority is how to get it out there so that it moves faster.
That's right.
Okay.
That's so true.
Now you can imagine how Robert kept Jonathan awake from Las Vegas to LA, right? So
it was a 4.5 hours drive. So yes.
See,
tons of stories, I tell you.
Oh yeah. And, okay. Now I picked up a lot of ahas, and again, you've been seeing Robert quite a lot, especially those who have been following him, no? And things that we'd like to emphasize. When he mentioned about the lead gen funnel, you see what he said. In the middle of the funnel, it's about interest. If he knows that you are focused or you are a specialist in a specific area, let's say in Alabang or in San Juan or in Makati, then your name comes up to his mind, and he would want to deal with you because he would like to deal with specialists. And that is what is very important. What are you known for? It's not just, I'm a broker and I sell everything anywhere in the Philippines. See,
right.
So create your brand, just like what he mentioned earlier. If you want direct listings, go to Robert. If you want easy to sell listings, go to Robert. See, he has created that brand. And about the fixed mindset, this is very common. The fixed mindset versus the growth mindset. I don't want to share my listings. Direct buyers only. They post there, direct buyers only. I don't want to share my commissions with anyone. Okay, so that's another thing. One thing I'm guilty of is that, you see, I've been always very visible, so I get all this inquiries and actually requests from clients to handle their properties. My problem is I I'm guilty of that. I'm not able to handle their properties or even accept their listings. In fact, because I know that it is not important just to get listings. Getting listings is the easy part, but marketing or handling their listings property is the challenge. It is what separates the man from the boys. Uh, it's a big responsibility. Once you accept a listing, then you are accepting already that responsibility. See,
Yeah.
I love what he is doing about giving an update to the owners, to the sellers, whether there was a movement or not about their listings. Very important. Even if there was an inquiry, there was no inquiry, you give an update to that to the owners. Sometimes, of course, personally also, I feel that although I have to give them an update, nothing's happening with the listings. See, that's a very important learning. You update your clients, give them feedback whether there's a movement in the listings or not. Number three is or number four is the number of the listings. It's a numbers game. If you see Robert every day, he's in one listing, doing an inspection, doing a video, and his opening line is very. His intro is consistent. Hello, this is Robert Sarmiento. That, and then the outro is again, this is Robert Sarmiento. If you want to know more about this is my number. Very consistent. And then, very important also, check your listings first. And then, so you know your listings very well. And then, if you have an appointment, be there earlier to prepare. We know, or I know some brokers who have not even seen their listings or who do not even know the brokers who are handling the listings. So, in short, they will be viewing the listings at the same time with their clients. How would you feel as a client if you tell me that you have a very nice listing when you have not even seen it for yourself?
Mm,
What kind of credibility will you have? And you
right.
don't even know the broker who's handling the listing.
Right.
So very important. And then, okay, last, and to give time to the others, one thing very important, it's not being the broker that they know. I think that's a quotable quote. It's not just being the broker that they know, but the broker that they see. See, top of mind, especially right now when everyone is always on social media. So you cannot give the reason, oh, I'm a shy person. Oh, I don't have Facebook. Oh, I don't like being blah blah blah. We don't have any choice. We don't have any choice.
Right.
So I love that one. It's not just being the broker that they know, but the broker that they see. Thank you very much for that, bro.
Right. When they don't see you, they don't know you.
Yeah. Out of mind, out of touch.
Yeah. So I got one very important question, Robert. I think is a question that probably a lot of people is asking in their minds. How do you define a quality listing?
Um, I first of all, is there a demand for
Mm,
that property listing? All
mm,
right. So if there's a property, when you sell it, and like me, and when I usually sell a property only if I know that I believe in it. I cannot sell a property that I don't believe in. Because at the end of the day, it's my commitment to the buyer to provide them with a good portfolio. And a good portfolio is a property wherein it's when it's time to sell, it's just a price, just a price thing,
right.
right? Say a Rockwell or a BGC or whatever that would be,
Right.
right? So
Right.
that's critical. That stands out. Of course, knowing the market value, and I really go out aside from seeing what's online. I call the specialist from a certain area, and tell them what's the last sale there, when was it done. So I really do my analysis. That way I know, right? And so I'm also gifted with something in President Avenue in Parañaque. I know that probably would be comparable to something like Roosevelt in Quezon City. So it's knowing the comparables of certain areas and locations. If you may, I add just one more thing. I did, like, let's say, my sharing my success tips. So number one was very important. This I shared, and I can share it again to KW. The reason we continue to do well are the following, and I'll just take on number one. We look at other networks opportunities, listings, and requirements, and not just focus on our own. Because most focus on their own, not realizing a more realistic deal is on hand. It's human nature. You get so tied up with your own, you tend to not prioritize or give some thought to another person. Some prefer to work on their own only. Of course, we respect that, and also some can't handle more than a few listings or clients. They're just like, okay, I can only do this. I can't do that. But remember, we are in marketing. We are in sales. And having that positive self-esteem, getting things done on a weekly basis is very critical.
Right. So your ideal quality listing is basically that it's a high demand property. It's something that people would buy. Of course, you work through the price. That's a different conversation, right? Working through the price of the property, but it has to be high demand first, right? People wants this property.
It's a demand. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So we always like to ride the wave, or some instances we create the wave.
Yes. So there's another question on the chat box here. Do you reject listings? If you reject listings, how do you reject it?
I just tell them that my plate is full.
Right.
And because you don't want to, I just got so much, and if I can't give 100% effort, I can't do it.
Right. So would you tell them that property is not priced correctly, or it's not a good property? Would you have that kind of conversation with them, or you just leave that aside?
I would tell them that really, I can't. My plate is full, but offhand, that property floods, and their price is just way off the charts.
Yeah. I think those are important conversations and important thoughts to have, because I think sometimes as real estate brokers or agents, we don't know how to say no. And we tend to think all these things are better than no listings.
That's right. And you know what? It's so critical on how you say things.
Right.
I can tell you, you're an asshole, but I can also say, you're an asshole. It makes a difference, right?
You're an asshole. You're an asshole.
Yes. So and that was part of the conversation when I was driving with him in Las Vegas, you see. Okay, so there's a question here by Cynthia. In this modern age, what would be the best way to advertise your listings to stand out from the rest?
Okay, you want to give it that it thing. All right. Okay, the latest one is Mossafiato. I was there. Okay, so 9 years in the market, they've only sold 100-something lots, and so I want them to really reach out, and let's not go that far. Let's look at Aya itself, right? And you gotta Geneva for a few, this Geneva development's only for a few, it's like you give them what's something that would take their mind. It's valued at some amount, and the appraisal is even valued more, right? It's 9 million or so, and it's appraised at 12 million. It's one of a kind. It's something that you shouldn't have, but you gotta find something that would make them tick or make them want it, right? Okay.
Right.
But so it's without putting pressure. Because Filipinos, you have to understand the psychology of Filipinos. They are soft sell. Right. They will not going to give you that immediate impression that they like it. but they're going to think about it and they're going to get back to you.
Right. So it's not hard sell. It's also a lot of storytelling.
A lot of storytelling.
You got to go through a lot of
so
storytelling.
important.
Yeah, and the narrative is so important, and you got to get the narrative right. And sometimes the same property may have different narratives for different people based on that particular person as well. Because some buyers comes in a different mindset. Some are investors will think differently. Homeowners will think differently. So I think there's some sort of narratives that we have to think through. How do we communicate that? And that's something that we have to develop, that skill to develop that narrative, right, and talk through about. That will be a different conversation altogether. Next question. How do you convince a seller to grant you exclusive listing?
Well, you got to sound very knowledgeable. You know, I noticed, let's say, recently I went to a property listing, and it was been in the market for 3 months, handled by probably about 15 brokers. And when I spoke to them, I asked about, their tax consequences. I mean, is your price gross price, or is it a net amount? How are you? How's your TIN? Are you vatable? Have you heard of primary residence capital gains exemption? So you probe into that. And you know what? 95% don't even go that way of giving them that info. Have you used is this your primary residence? How long has this been with you? Is it under an individual name? Because if it's under a corporation, then you don't qualify. But if it's under your name and it's been in your the title's been with you for 2 years, then you can qualify for primary residence capital gains exception. What's that? It's like a 1031 exchange in the United States, wherein if you sell your primary residence, use the proceeds of that sale to buy your next primary residence, then a certain portion of your capital gains will be exempted.
Right.
And so, just giving that information that most don't give makes you stand out. You got to stand out.
Right. I think it's also the ability to have depth in the industry. Because I think the challenges is we have a lot of salespeople with very little depth of understanding the industry, the technicalities behind which is so important. The knowledge of the economics in the market is so important. Your local authority, regulatory, taxation regulatory, all this stuff I think needs a lot of depth for us to be able to have that consultative conversation, ask those good questions. I think what you just did, Robert, is just that you asked those pertinent questions that I didn't even know as an owner.
That's right.
Right, and that's important. And that's from there, I think you can seal the trust seal with that relationship with the client by telling him that actually I know my stuff. Like, why would you trust someone else if they don't even know their stuff?
How come 95% of that I spoke to didn't tell me that?
Yeah, exactly. And that's your opportunity, and that's all our opportunity here, because I believe a lot of people are, for whatever reason, do not get so deep into understanding.
Yeah. Another thing, for those younger brokers, my advice is I'm 65. I can afford to say direct listings only. But you're in your 30s, your 40s. You're building up your portfolio, you're building up your network. Forget those direct listings. It's not. Yeah, I see direct listings only, please, for the requirements. It's really a turnoff. For me, it is a turnoff. I tell you. Because 10% is all you lose. And what you need to do is keep the wheels rolling.
Right.
That self-esteem. You just don't realize how important that self-esteem is.
Right. Last question. I can answer this last question here. I think this is an important question as from Angelica. Before we can close the session, what are top 3 things that you would do as a new person that just joined the business? What are top 3 things that I need to do in order for me to be successful? What was your advice?
Number 1, get a mentor. Find somebody there. All right. Immerse yourself in the industry. Really expose yourself. Get your feet wet. And number 3, pray for guidance. Because at the end of the day, really, no matter how good you are, it's all in God's hand if you're going to get that deal or not.
Right. Right. Awesome. I hope that helps everyone. Okay, thank you. We will go back for some last thoughts, but there's some announcements before we close, right? Can we have some announcements, please, on the channel? Okay, so we'll be having our Ignite training starting on every Tuesday and Thursdays right now. This is the calendar. It has actually started since September 16. So it's a 20 series a training that has helped a lot of people. I highly encourage you guys to join this from 9:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. in KW Manila. Session 3 on 23rd of September would be happening, I think, tomorrow at the Producer City Showroom. And our good friend Charles Lee will be there. So please join us for this this session. If you are, even you're not part of us, please register. The links of registration would be shared in the chat box later. Next slide, please. Right, if you do need a 45 minutes business consultation, you have a lot of questions, please scan the QR code. One of our associates will be speaking to you to help you understand how can you do better in your business, right? So I'm going to give you them 10 seconds to scan the QR code. Okay, thank you so much. Now back to you. Back to you, Robert? What's your last advice to all of us in this chat room on this in this audience today?
The market is adapting. The landscape of real estate is changing. Really get advice on what direction to take. And you know what? You just have to be in the right path and then know where the action is so that you don't waste your time.
Right. Andy, what's your last advice?
Be open-minded. Look, what do I mean by being open-minded? Everybody now has witnessed how an experienced property who's doing all the right things like Robert and who's been doing things for the past 35, 36 years and who knows what to do and who's already on top of his game in the market is how open-minded he is. He's still checking out the technology and whatever he can learn from Keller Williams. You see, that's the moment. This is a realization that means the moment that you say, oh, I know that already, oh, I know everything already, that is the sign that you are already deteriorating. Mm-hmm. The moment that you tell yourself, oh, I know everything already, that is a point of deterioration.
That's right.
When you stop learning, you are already deteriorating. Now, if you see a very successful person who's doing all the right things and still open-minded to learn and collaborate, just like Robert, then you know that there is still a lot to learn. Now, that being said, I just want to thank everyone who joined the open house last Saturday, and those who were able to see, especially also Robert, was there early the day before, and that day who joined us at the blessing of the Geneva open house at the Aya Hills. Angelica was here. Angelica was also there, who appreciated it. And of course, I would like to congratulate in advance Victoria Ignacio, who was there yesterday and who will be one of the property owners of Geneva.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I think she's getting a como. That shows the appreciation of, I mean, they see a good property, they know a good property when they see one, right?
Wow. Thank you so much.
Good, and then, of course, Jonathan, you still have to go there.
Yes, I know. I'm waiting for you to bring me there, but it's fine. I like it, Andy, that you say that when you start saying that you are you know everything, you'll begin to deteriorate. I thought when you lose your hair, you begin to deteriorate, but that's not the case. But
correct.
So now I understand. Okay, I understand. It's not about the hair, right? Yeah. So
I stopped growing it here, so I started growing it here.
Okay, my last thought to everyone is like the whole market is chaotic right now. The whole world is in chaos. There's so much things going on that never happened before. In the history of the last 150 years, a lot of things has happened that never happened. A lot of unprecedented things that never happened. But one thing that will never stop is real estate transactions, right? So I think let's not all caught up by the noise of the world, the noise that's around us, that's so noisy, and just go get to work, Like, let's all be Robert Sarmiento and just go get to work and talk to owners and find listings that can sell, and then do your due diligence and do your work. You will have a very great career.
You know what, given
What?
in every crisis, there's an opportunity.
Yes.
Do not
Exactly.
ever forget that.
Exactly.
Especially with real estate. See, in real estate, if there's a market crash, people will downgrade. Then there's a market for you. People will downgrade. People will buy lower houses or maybe go to and do rentals. If there's a divorce, then there's also another requirement for a property. If there's right, you just have to know your shit in real estate.
That's right. Exactly. Just right.
Three properties I'm about to handle now are from DPWH contractors that need to cash out.
They need cash. They need cash before anything happens.
Okay.
Yep. And this will be about 60% off. I tell you, it's gonna go fast.
There you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of money to be made in the market today. There's a lot of opportunities. All you do is get up on your chair, start doing the work, and like what Andy say, know your shit in real estate. You will do well. Okay. So, with that, everyone, thank you so much. Have a great rest of the week. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye bye.